The Drowned Boy of Venice, a horror tale from the canals, beneath the crumbling stones of Venice, in the shadowy veins of its endless canals, lived a boy named Elio. He was no one, forgotten, left behind. Orphaned at birth, he had grown up beneath the Ponte del Diavolo, the Devil's Bridge, with only stray cats and sewer mice for company. Every morning before dawn, as the sleeping city snored and the gondolas lay still, Elio slipped into the freezing waters and swam. The river was his friend, his escape. It was the only place he felt free. The cats would wait by the bank. The mice would hide in the folds of his ragged coat. And Elio would vanish into the black waters like he belonged there. But on the coldest morning of winter, everything changed. That day, fog strangled the city. Thick, pale, unnatural. Even the birds were silent. Elio dove into the canal as usual, but the water felt wrong. Too cold, too still, and then he saw it. Deep below the surface, something moved. At first, it looked like a shimmer of scales, then a hand, long, webbed, tipped with claws, and then eyes, pale green, glowing, watching. Elio tried to swim back, but the water clung to him like oil. His chest tightened. Something was pulling him down. He barely had time to scream before it surged upward. A twisted creature, half woman, half sea beast, exploded from the depths. Its face was a mask of sorrow and madness, lips stitched shut, gills fluttering on its neck. In a blink, its icy claws gripped Elio's throat. He thrashed, bubbles rising around him. The cats yowled on the bank. And then, darkness. When Elio awoke, he was gasping on the jagged rocks of a strange, mist-choked island. The sky was wrong, bruised and purple with 3 moons looming overhead. The trees hissed with voices, and the ocean whispered his name. Elio. Elio. He crawled to the water's edge and saw his reflection, and screamed. His skin had turned a pale blue-gray, slick and damp. His fingers were webbed, his teeth sharp, jagged. His eyes glowed green. The creature had done something to him, changed him. But the worst part? He could feel something inside him now. Something old, something buried. "You were born here," came a rasping voice behind him. Elio turned. The creature from the canal stood tall on the rocks. But it wasn't monstrous anymore, not fully. It looked like a woman now, drenched in seaweed, her mouth still sewn shut, but her eyes filled with pain. "You were never human," she spoke through his mind. "You were cast out at birth. Your blood is ancient, forgotten, cursed." This island was Isola del Perduti, the island of the lost, a place where drowned souls and cursed children were taken by the sea. No human had ever stepped foot here and lived. Elio wasn't just trapped. He was home. As weeks passed, Elio changed more. He no longer needed to breathe air. He could speak to the shadows. The cats and mice had followed him, but even they began to change. The cats grew longer, hungrier. The mice spoke in whispers. They became part of the island, part of him. Elio began to remember things he had never lived. He saw visions of old Venice, when witches lived in the towers and sea spirits were worshipped. He remembered being ripped from his mother's arms, thrown into the canal to drown because of what he was, because he was different, because the people of Venice feared the sea-born. He was meant to die, but the water had claimed him. Now, he waited. On stormy nights, when the fog rolled in thick and the moon turned blood red, Elio returned to the surface world. Locals whispered of a boy with glowing green eyes seen crawling from the water, barefoot, dripping, whispering in forgotten tongues. Children vanished from their beds, fishermen disappeared beneath their boats. Cats stared too long at the water and were never seen again. They say if you walk alone near the Devil's Bridge at night, you'll hear a soft splash, and a voice behind you whispering, "Do you remember me?"